Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here, and our discussion today will be about how a bill becomes a law. There are two types of bills and resolutions that can go through Congress. Okay, and they are private bills and public bills. Private bills deal with individual people or places. These are special requests from citizens, usually for their own benefit. An example would be a grant of citizenship for an individual. For instance, the gentleman to the right, in 1997, a private bill was introduced in the Senate to give the Chinese dissident Wei Jingsheng permanent residency in the United States. Public bills deal with broad matters that affect the entire nation. An example would be healthcare legislation. They are subject to long debate and a difficult approval process. Resolutions are passed by Congress to deal with unusual or temporary matters. A simple resolution covers matters affecting only one house of Congress and is passed by that house. New rules and procedures, for example. It does not have the force of law and does not require presidential signature. A joint resolution is passed by both houses of Congress. The president's signature gives it the force of law. It is used to correct errors in previously passed laws and used to promote or propose constitutional amendments. And these do not require the president's signature. The authorization of the use of military force against Iraq resolution of 2002 allowed the president to initiate the invasion of Iraq. Concurrent resolutions cover matters requiring action from both the House and Senate, but for which no law is needed. An example is an expression about congressional opinion about an important issue. It must be passed by both houses. And it does not require the president's signature. In 2012, a concurrent resolution was passed to honor Václav Havel, who was the president of the Czech Republic, the first one following the communist regime. And again, it does not have the weight of law. Riders are a rider is a provision in a bill that is not the subject of the bill. Members of Congress attach these provisions to a bill that is likely to pass. This allows measures to pass Congress that would not make it if they were not attached to the bill. So these bills are often called Christmas tree bills or pork barrel legislation because they have a lot of unnecessary fat on them. Less than 10% of the bills introduced to Congress become laws. Because the lawmaking process is so lengthy, more than 100 steps, members opposed to a bill have an advantage over those in favor of it. It can be killed in committee or in another step in the process. Some bills are introduced even though it is unlikely they will pass. They were introduced by members for political gain. For instance, the House introduced 40 different bills to end Obamacare, although it was clear that they would not be passed by the Senate. Bills can be written or suggested by private citizens, but they must be introduced in the House or Senate by a lawmaker. Lawmakers will usually seek co-sponsors for their bills in order to increase support in the chamber for it. In the House, a member puts the bill in a written form in a box called the hopper near the clerk's desk. In the Senate, the member must be recognized on the floor by the presiding officer and then formally present it. Bills introduced in either chamber are printed and distributed to the members. To the right, you see Senators McCain and Feingold, who co-sponsored a campaign finance reform bill, often called the McCain-Feingold Reform Act. In each House of Congress, the bill then goes to committee for review. Bills may be sent to a subcommittee. A bill may be pigeonholed or ignored and left to die in committee. A committee can kill the bill by a majority vote. Other lawmakers will often rely on the committee's judgment as they are experts on the topic of the bill. A committee can allow the bill to go to the full chamber as it is or rewrite it. Committee hearings are held when a committee decides to act on a bill. The committee then hears testimony from experts, interest groups, and government officials on the merits of the bill. Committee chairs can use their influence to turn a public opinion against the bill. And citizens and interest groups will call, email, write legislators during this time, as it is the best opportunity to influence the bill. To the right, you see Western Union telegrams. They are no longer commonly sent, but before the internet, the National Rifle Association would have its members flood the offices of senators and representatives with these telegrams, asking them to vote against gun control. And it was a very effective tactic. After the hearing, the committee meets in a markup session. During this session, they decide what, if any, changes to make to the bill. The bill is gone through section by section. A majority committee vote is needed for any or all changes to be made. After any changes have been made, the committee votes to either kill the bill or to report it. To report it means to send it to the House or Senate for action. A written report is sent along with the bill, listing the committee's actions, any changes, and opinions on it. This document is reviewed by members of Congress and their staff members. Floor action on a bill. Only a few lawmakers usually take part in the floor debate, as most issues have been heard through the committee hearing. The floor debate, however, is the point at which the amendments can be added to the bill. Unless the House adopts a closed rule, that is a vote with no amendments, they can go forward with that. Any lawmaker can propose amendments during the floor debate, unless there's a closed rule. Opponents of a bill sometimes propose amendments to slow its passage or to kill it. Amendments are added in the House and Senate only if a majority approves them. After the floor debate, the bill is ready for a vote. A quorum or majority must be present. Passage requires a majority vote of all members present. The House and Senate can vote in one of three ways. 1, a voice vote. All members call out aye or nay. 2, standing or division vote. Those in favor of the bill stand and are counted, and then those opposed stand and are counted. Or a roll call vote. Every member's name is called and they must respond aye or nay. The House also uses an electronic method to record and display their votes. Final steps in passing bills. Conference committee action. When one House of Congress will not accept the other House's version of a bill, a conference committee meets to create an acceptable version. They submit a conference report or final draft of the bill to the House and Senate for action. Presidential action. After both houses of Congress pass a bill in identical form, the bill is sent to the President for action. The President can sign it, and the bill will become law. The President may keep the bill for 10 days without signing it. If Congress is in session, the bill will become law after 10 days without his signature. The President usually signs the bill, if that is his intention. The President can reject the bill through a veto. A veto is when the President refuses to sign the bill and returns it to Congress. If a bill is passed during the last 10 days of a session of Congress, the President can veto it by not acting upon it. This is called a pocket veto. Congressional override of a veto. Congress can override a presidential veto with a vote of 2/3 of both houses in approval. This does not happen very often, as it is difficult to get this kind of majority in either chamber. So the threat of a veto is a very serious thing when Congress is trying to pass legislation. They will often modify it just to avoid this. The line item veto. Presidents have sought a line item veto, which would enable them to reject specific parts of legislation while approving others. Congress passed a special law giving the line item veto to President Clinton in 1996. However, it was later ruled unconstitutional. It gave powers to the President that belonged to the legislature. Registering laws. After a bill becomes law, it is registered with the National Archives and Records Service. It is labeled public or private and assigned a number. An online database of all legislation is available on a database called Thomas. It provides access to legislation being considered also. It allows you to search the congressional record, see how your legislators voted. And it contains committee reports, summaries, and updates on the status of bills. And these are available as they move through Congress in real time. This allows the average citizen to remain informed. Knowledge is power. And you can get there at thomas.loc.gov. That concludes our discussion of how a bill becomes law. Thank you for your viewing time, and I look forward to seeing you in the live lesson. Have a great day.